Hi everybody, I'm Billy and I'm going to show you how to do an eye makeup look. We got Piper the border collie over there. Piper, say hi. You're a good boy. First off, what I always do for my makeup is only just eyeshadow. I don't really do face makeup except for highlighter. Every once in a while I'll do lipstick, but it's not really my forte because you have to like reapply it, and I'm all about like low maintenance sort of appearances. Look at this little bug. So, the first thing is put some concealer on my eyelids to prime them. So you can use any concealer. I sometimes use this one, although I try not to use it for my eyelids. I try to save it for like my actual face if it needs concealer. And most days I'll use this one. So this was a Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circle Treatment Concealer with Goji Berry and Haloxyl. And this is Maybelline's Fit Me. It doesn't really matter the shade. It doesn't have to. I knocked over a cup. I'm just smearing some on there. Do I look amazing? Okay, it's time to blend this out. What we could use is a beauty blender. I have one now because my friend gave it to me because she's super sweet. Otherwise, I don't think I would ever spend $20 on a little piece of pink. So I use a spray bottle and just spritz. This thing expands with water. It's squishy. This is a real squishy. It's a turtle. We're gonna pat. We're gonna pat nice and pretty all over. Pat, pat, pat. This is priming your eyelids so that the eyeshadows can have a nice base. This guy, we're done with him. Next. My lips feel chapped, so I'm gonna put Vaseline on them, moistening my lips. Okay. If you haven't heard of Juvia's Place, it's an independent brand. They have really pretty palettes, and I have almost every one of their palettes. Not everyone. And there are some that I don't think I want, so I haven't gotten them. Their number one thing that makes them number one for me is how pigmented and beautiful they are. Look at that huge pan size. That pan is bigger than my eye. Let's start with the Warrior palette because it's easy. It's just nudes, so there's no like hard decisions being made. Just gonna let that. Okay. I'm gonna use kind of medium-sized blending brush. It's fluffy on the edges. I'm dipping into the color Cano. So what I'm gonna do is take my little fluffy blending brush with some color on it and tap it onto this kind of dome circle shape on my eye, creating a half circle from inner corner up and around in the crease to outer corner. I'm gonna quickly do the same on the other eye. And that's the finished look for today. I'm fully kidding. I'm gonna take a bigger, fluffier blending brush. This one is very dirty. I haven't cleaned it in a while. I'm gonna try to diffuse the color that I just put down with this golden yellow color. So I'm just loading this onto my blending brush, and because my brush is dirty and I haven't cleaned it in probably years, I'm just kidding, I've only had it for like a couple months, I'm loading all sides of it. So I'm patting all over all sides of that until it's loaded up. So I shook that off a little bit. And I'm just gonna start unloading that color around the edges of where I laid down that light caramel brown. By loading that down, I'm very gently touching the skin. I'm not using a lot of pressure. And this will hopefully blend and diffuse the color out. Using little circular motions and going back and forth over the edges. Here the goal is to keep blending and blowing it out, so as you get closer to the brow bone, kind of spread the color more thin and buff it out towards your brow. I think that looks nice. It looks blended enough. I don't know if it looks good on camera, but in person it looks fine, so I'm okay with it. Blending. I want to deepen up the crease in the outer corner. It's usually a good idea to contour your eye the same as you would your face. The same sort of logic can be used on your eyes. If you think about it, your eye shape, you want it, well, I mean, standards of beauty are different across all cultures, but for right now, what I want is to make the very center of the lid. I want it to be drawn the most forward, so I'll use lighter colors there. I want the corners of my eye to be further back, so I use darker colors there. I can kind of put those darker colors also in my crease, which is why I started out by stamping that brown shade in that circle here. Great. There's a couple different ways we could do this. I want to do it in stages today. So what I mean by that is I'll start with sort of a dark shade and then deepen it with an even darker shade. I think eventually I will work my way up to this deep black color in the Warrior 2 palette, but to start off with, I'm going to go for this dark brown in the Warrior 1 palette. I'm going to start by placing this right here in the outer corner, just by tapping. Tapping first deposits the color, then I can bring it a little bit up into the crease. And to start blending, I'm going to do slight little circles, tiny circles, and I'm using barely any pressure at all. Gentle circles, bringing it down a little bit to the lower lash line. The further away from the outer corner I get, the less pressure I apply. Putting a darker color in your lower lash line often defines it. I think that's why in the early 2000s we all did that heavy lower liner. Using my finger to smooth that over. Do you see how that already creates more depth and dimension on this side than on this side? This eye looks more flat and washed out. This one looks more defined. I'm going to go back into the original light brown color that I used, which was called Kano in the Warrior 1 palette, with a larger blending brush. And I'm going to swipe that ever so gently, barely any pressure, into the crease. Graze the tiniest amount. I did this to pick up color. I'm not going to drag it in there because I only want a little bit. It's a very intense color. You don't want it all over the place. And I'm putting that there in that outer corner. Just patting. See how dark that is? Now, I'm going to go to that other blending brush here. And I'm going to diffuse this with this brush. So I'm using those tiny circles. I'm doing little tiny back and forths. I'm dragging down to the lower lash line. I'm not going as far and wide with the black as I did with the darker brown. I'm going to use this more flat brush. See how it's more skinny this ways and fatter this ways? And dip into this dark red color called Izafa from the Festival palette by Juvia's Place. And really rub it into my brush. Wow. So I'm going to start placing this right here. And just like that, diffusing it out a little bit using tiny circles and tiny swipes. Take my huge blending brush, dip back into the golden yellow color called Oro on the Festival palette, and kind of swipe that along these edges to bring it back a tiny bit more. Taking care not to bring it all the way up to my brow because I personally like a more diffused edge. Now, when I blended out the red, I lost the intensity of it. So I'm going to go back into Izafa, which is the red color on the Festival palette, and just pat that on the center of the red so that it's really intense, just like that. I have jaw problems, bro. It's never going to stop popping. I'm not super duper happy with the blending from here to there, but since I have hooded eyes, that anyway kind of disappears whenever I relax my eyes. So it's not a huge deal. I'm just going to take my fluffy blending brush from before, whatever color's on it, I don't really care. I'm just using it for its bristles, and I'm going to swipe along the crease edge to kind of diffuse the blending. So this inner corner is looking kind of choppy and messy. I don't know if you can tell. Then I'm going to take my big fluffy blending brush and go over this area. I like what I've got. Let me wipe off this red just with a finger. Maybe with my shirt sleeve. So I'm going to do a little bit more boom for the lower lash line. So I'm going to add kind of like a sparkly gold. I think I'm going to go back into the Warrior 1 palette by Juvia's Place. I'm going to dip into that shiny shimmer. This is what I'm going to use the mini dome brush for. And I'm going to deposit it on this part of my lower lash line to give it a bit of a shine. And I'm kind of bringing this into the inner corner because my next step would be to make my inner corner pop. So I'm going to take an even lighter shimmery color. For example, this middle one. And I'm just patting that onto the inner corner like this. I don't like this kind of jagged line in between the gold in the inner corner and the red. Go back into the red tap on the red in the middle and swipe it down to here. Put more red here and gently swipe it to the inner corner. If I want this to be super perfect, I will note that I lost a little bit of the darkness in the outer corner. So to bring that back, I could go back in with a medium blending brush, touch, pat. Now I'm gonna wipe this off, and then I'm gonna start swiping back and forth to recreate that diffused blend. So now if you wanna do eyeliner, now would be the time to do it. And I think that I will, because why not? I just use this cheap $2 e.l.f. liquid liner. I don't know how to use felt tip liner. I've tried it, it always goes messed up. After wiping off a little bit off the brush, put this here in a tiny line starting in the center, and then do tiny little lines out to the inner corner. Then bring that outer corner out. And I have to decide which way I want the wing to be kind of oriented. So I think I'm gonna go out like this, paint the base of the wing, and then start slowly from the center of the eye out, making this line thicker. So I don't want to make the thickness all the way around for this look. I want to make it start getting thicker towards this outer end. And a lot of times I make mistakes, like I sneeze or I move and the line gets thicker than I want to, and then I have to make it thick all the way around. But that's okay because I usually like thicker liner anyway. See, that's a mistake. I made a little dot there that I didn't mean to put. I could kind of fix it by making this part thicker and making it kind of connect to the dot so it's not as clearly visible that it's out of place. This is a really thin wing. Usually I make my wings a lot thicker than this. I think liner looks really cute. I kind of like how this looks with the liner as opposed to how that looks without it. The eyeliner is done. So to finish up, I did a little bit of mascara and I'm currently putting glue on my lashes, my fake lashes. I'm using this black glue because it matches my eyeliner, and I'm using some really cheap, just like $6 eyelashes that I found at Target. And I think they're really pretty because they're very full and fake looking, which is what I like to go for. I try to put a little bit of extra mascara on my lower lashes because otherwise I think it looks a little bit uneven when you have big, huge, dramatic, full fake eyelashes, and then your lower lashes look kind of shrimpy in comparison. I'm waiting for them to dry, and for some reason they take a long time to dry, so I'm just kind of hanging out with them. And this is a good time to do highlighter, which is pretty much the only face makeup that I like to do. But for right now, I'm going to use Giza on this little huge kind of face brush. I think it's like a contouring brush. It says bronzing brush on it. It's e.l.f. and it says bronzing brush, but I just use it as highlighter because I like the kind of triangle tapered end, and I think that that goes well when you're putting on highlighter on your cheekbones. So I'm just kind of fluffing that on, swiping back and forth. You know what? My eyeshadow really kind of fell and smeared on my face, so I think I'm actually gonna go in with some concealer on my under eye area. I'm gonna use that concealer I talked about in the beginning of the video. I'm not good at face makeup, so I don't know what I'm doing, so don't listen to me on this step. With that same highlighter brush, I'm gonna repeat the highlighter step, and I think that by now my eyelashes are ready to put on. When I put the highlighter on, I focus most of it on my cheekbones, and then I also like to brush a little bit on the tip of my nose, a tiny bit on this forehead, a little bit on my cupid's bow like this. Oh, it's shiny. And then some on my chin, because those are the high points of my face. That's pretty much the extent of what I know about face makeup. I only really know how to do eyeshadow. Okay, pay attention to the shape of it. So this side is longer, so that's actually the side that goes on the outer corner, and this side is smaller, so that goes on the inner corner. And then I take this, I place it right as close to my lash line as possible. I kind of stick on the middle first, and then I take that inner corner and I stick it on close to the lash line, and then I take the outer corner, I stick that on close to the lash line, and then I push on all the areas. Look at that difference. Look at how pretty it looks on this side and how normal it looks on that side. A lot of people don't need fake eyelashes, but I personally really love them. I used to never know how they worked up until prom of my senior year. And I'm a freshman in college now, but prom of my senior year is when I first started using fake eyelashes. Now that those are on, I'd say that my look is complete. So I can let my hair down. This is a little Ravenclaw bow because I am a Ravenclaw. This was a gift from my boyfriend like 2 or 3 Christmases ago. I think we've had a total of 5 Christmases together. This is what I came up with. This is what it all accumulates to. I've literally spent like an hour recording this, and in general, on a normal day, my makeup only takes 20 minutes to do, and I still do all of this. That's the look. So that's the gist of it. I'm just doing a little voiceover to kind of wrap things up. I appreciate you guys watching a 16-minute video of me kind of goofing around and maybe talking about makeup for like 3 minutes of that 16. And thanks for watching these thrilling visuals of me flipping my hair around and getting real close to the camera. I am fully aware that there's probably no one watching this, so I'm kind of talking to myself, but you know what, that's okay. It was still fun to make the video, and it's fun to goof around, so I appreciate you guys if you are there, and I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!